But you know, I thought I was had, you know, things planned. They said I could run for governor, and the polls were there, and the money was going to come. And you know, we were doing these town hall meetings all over the state, and people were liking the look and the hair and all this stuff. But you know, Auntie Diane promised me I could do it. But then now maybe she wants to be governor, even though she's like 100 years old. And, you know, where does that leave old Gavin running for lieutenant governor? Me with my vision and audacity and gravelly voice as lieutenant governor? I tell you where it leads me back here. I got it. You heard about these people with the big wheels? They want to ride them down the crooked, curvy street. Big wheels on the street. I mean, that's, you know...
Isn't that fun?
Well, you know, Gabby's into the fun and wild and spontaneous, but, you know, there's got to be rules and regulations and permits because, you know, as I always say, we don't need to be profligate to be progressive. And, you know, we really made it, it's remarkably simple here in San Francisco. You go to the ISCOT, the Interdepartmental Staff Committee on Traffic and Transportation, you pay the fee, proof of insurance, diagram of your proposal, you know, maybe you need a permit from the Entertainment Commission, the GPH, the SFPD, and there, you can have your nice, spontaneous little fun that way.
I gotta back in about that.
A little, you know, some inspiring language, some obscure but impressive sounding acronyms and statistics, and then a random quote at the end to distract you a little bit. Because, you know, as I always say, we may have overpromised, but we certainly don't want to under-deliver. So I always say we need to disenthrall ourselves and disabuse ourselves from what this is. That this is particularly difficult, you know, because I don't want to overburden you with the obvious, because we're not just mending broken windows. No, we're harnessing the spirit of civic engagement in this struggle. So let's not dream of forgetting. It's all about aligning resources, coordinating the city departments, and streamlining the entire process of delivery.
Hey, I want to thank you for coming on our program, Gavin.
Oh, thanks a lot for having me.
It's slumming it down here at the Shea Poulet.
Hey, it's great to be here. Now, follow me on Twitter, check me out on the Facebook, do me on the Tumblrs and the Whoozits and the MySpaces and
So let's go ahead and give that mic to Mr. Frank Chu, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is. Just pan right to it.
Well, I had a chance to meet CBS Evening News, their reporters, John Blackstone's, and also ABC World News, Mike Soray's, and NBC Nightly News. I met George Lewis, Tom Brokaw. So I was filmed by those stations with some press conferences, and I was able to tell them about the other rocket societies and space vacations and flying saucers, about the other galaxies with the other populations, and about the 12 galaxies with Bill Clinton and the White House guilty of the impeachments, embezzling my money as that movie star and that TV star with the war crimes that went across the 12 galaxies. So I'm trying to get it proven about 2010 and 2012, trying to get the impeachments in Washington, D.C., then trying to get it proven I should have been paid as a movie star and a TV star too. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Hal.
In my craft or sullen art, exercised in the still night, while only the moon rages and the lovers lie abed, holding their griefs in their arms, I labor by singing light, not for ambition or bread, or for the strut and trade of charms on the ivory stages, but for the common wages of their most secret art. Not for the proud man, apart from the raging moon, I write on these spindrift pages, nor for the towering dead with their nightingales and psalms, but for the lovers, their arms round the griefs of the ages, who pay no praise nor wages, nor heed my craft or art. But those are the wages of what we do. If nobody cares now, maybe somebody will care in the fullness of time. Maybe our show will make some bit of a difference somewhere between the ordinate and the abscissa on one of Pete Goldie's astronomical graphs, and in the endless reaches of the universe, somewhere, someday it may be said that here we took a stand for something, we know not what. What? Oh, yes.
After last week, remember last week?
Yes, I remember it as though it were last week.
Is the rim job question the new abortion question or the new Viking question?
It's not.
There's many people here who are not going to understand any of those references because you're new. But you can pretend to go, what are you talking about?
See, we have dealt with the Viking people and the abortion people, and now last week we had the rim job guy. He asked many questions on this subject, which I dutifully answered, and he even won some Fernet. But then, after he drank from the glass, Chicken decided, you know, considering the nature of those questions, it's probably best to get a new glass. So, I see we have 2 glasses here, and that will stand the push of the rim job guy if he insists on persisting in his attempt, the one of many that have been made over the years, to take over the Ask Dr. Hal show with his resilient, indeed rubbery sense of humor. But we'll see how much bounce it has.
What lies inside the hollow earth? Give that to me.
It would seem to be a vacuum if it's hollow, huh? But of course, the hollow earth is not really hollow, not in the way we think, not with a hole in the Arctic as others think. You know, there are many stories about people who go into the hollow earth and then they walk around on the inside of the shell. Yes, but that's a violation of basic Newtonian physics, ladies and gentlemen. Even if the earth were hollow, and it isn't, but the moon is hollow, we know that. But even if it were hollow, then what you would do is you'd fall to the center of the earth, and there you would remain, floating in the space inside the earth. What was his question again? What lies inside the hollow earth? According to some, the Nazi hell creatures piloting their flying saucers. According to others, a prehistoric world of dinosaurs, mastodons, and thinly clad prehistoric babes. But as much as I would like to believe any of this, I have to say the earth is fairly solid beneath our feet. And there's also the problem, the pressing problem of the sun at the center of the earth. Yes, if there's a non-Newtonian land on the inside of the earth's crust, it has to be illuminated by that sun. And what prevents that sun from getting hotter and hotter and cooking all those mammoths and cavemen until they're crispy critters? Not much, unless the sun in the center of the earth is incredibly weak in its power, because there are no days or nights down there in the theoretical hollow earth, only unending noon and a timeless world. A nice thing to believe and nice for pulp fiction, but in fact our world doesn't have any such arrangement, unless there's some sort of strange dimensional jag, which will take you to an inverse world where everything is inside and nothing is known on the outside. Could anybody believe such a foolish thing? Heinrich Himmler and the Nazis were convinced not only that there was a hollow earth, but that we were living in it. And so they sent ships to the North Sea to look up into the sky with telescopes to see if they could spy what perfidious America was doing on the other side of the shell. And you wonder why they lost the war. Little orphan Annies come to our house to stay, to wash the cups and saucers up and sweep the crumbs away and shoo the chickens off the porch and make the fire and sweep and clean the yard and bake the bread and earn her board and keep. But all us other chillin', when the supper things is done, we sits around the kitchen fire and has the mostest fun of listening to the witch tales that Annie tells about, and the goblins that gets you if you don't watch out. And once there was a little boy who wouldn't say his prayers, and when he went to bed at night, away upstairs, his mammy heard him holler, and his daddy heard him bawl. And when they teared the covers down, he wasn't there at all. And they searched him in the rafter room and cubby hole and press. They searched him up the chimney flue and everywheres, I guess. But all they ever found was just his pants and roundabout. And the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. And once there was a little girl who used to laugh laugh and grin and make fun of everybody and all her blood and kin. And once, when there was company and old folks was there, she mocked 'em and she shocked 'em and she said she didn't care. And then just as she kicked her heels and turned to run and hide, there was two great big black things a-standing at her side, and they snatched her through the ceiling, for she knew what she's about. And the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. And little Orphan Annie says that when the blaze is blue and the lamplight flickers and the wind goes whoo, you better mind your parents and your teachers fond and dear, and cherish them that loves you, and dry the orphan's tear, and help the poor and needy ones that clusters all about, or the goblins will get you if you don't watch out.